Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Had quite a few people send me a story about Tesla, and we've been talking about Tesla lately because they've got something called full self-driving, FSD. And the question is, what does the full in that sense mean? What does it mean? And I had quite a few people in response to my last video say, Steve, it doesn't mean that the car fully self-drives. It's just that it self-drives a lot of places. It's a reference to where it can self-drive. So whatever. I'm not that concerned about that, okay? Here's the deal. Reuters reports, and David Shepardson wrote a story about Tesla recalling nearly 54,000 vehicles that may disobey stop signs. And the weird part is that they announced not too long ago that they were going to have their cars programmable to where they could just roll through a stop sign. And that was something they said, yeah, it's going to just roll through a stop sign if you set it to do that. And NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, looked at that and said, is that safe to tell the car that it can roll stop signs? Because among other things, stop signs actually only have one command on them. And rolling through them would mean that the car is disobeying that. And of course, if you're behind the wheel of that car, you're in control of it, you could get a ticket for rolling through a stop sign. And you'd say, well, my car did it on its own. And you can see how far that'll get you. So Tesla will recall 53,822 U.S. vehicles with the company's full self-driving beta software that may allow some models to conduct rolling stops and not come to a complete stop at some intersections, posing a safety risk. And by the way, the last time I talked about Tesla and a recall, a bunch of people got angry and said, Steve, to force these people to bring their cars to dealerships to have the work done doesn't make any sense. If they can do it over the air, why can't they do it over the air? No one's saying they can't do it over the air. A recall is a term of art. It refers to the fact that the federal government is on board with a repair that the manufacturer is going to make involving a safety issue. It doesn't mean the vehicle's got to be brought to a dealership. If it can be performed over the air, it can be performed over the air. The point is, though, that NHTSA will oversee it to some extent and monitor it to make sure it gets done. So don't freak out. No one's going to force you to take your Tesla into some dealership to have this programming done differently because it involves a recall. So the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, said the recall covers some 2016 to 2022 Model S and Model X vehicles, 2017 to 2022 Model 3 vehicles, and 2020 to 2022 Model Y vehicles. NHTSA said the feature, also known as FSD Beta, may allow vehicles to travel through an all-way stop intersection without first coming to a stop. Tesla will perform an over-the-air software update that disables the rolling stop functionality, NHTSA said. The agency added it maintains regular discussions with all manufacturers to discuss potential safety concerns of these types of systems. Tesla Chief Executive Officer Elon Musk said on Twitter there were no safety issues with the function. The car simply slowed to less than 2 miles per hour and continued forward if clear view with no cars or pedestrians. But he doesn't explain why you would come to a stop sign and not stop. Yes, it might be safe to do so. Is it legal to do so? NHTSA noted federal law prohibits manufacturers from selling vehicles with defects posing unreasonable risks to safety, including intentional design choices that are unsafe. Last week, Tesla said the number of FSD beta vehicles in the U.S. increased to nearly 60,000 from a few thousand back in September. Tesla has been testing the improved version of its automated driving software on public roads, but the car maker and the regulator have said the features do not make the cars autonomous. So the idea that you can just get in the car and go, take me to the airport, and then just put your head down and fall asleep and wake up at the airport, we're not quite there yet, okay? Tesla said as of January 27th, it was not aware of any warranty claims, crashes, injuries, or fatalities related to recall. What I'd like to know is, has anybody gotten a ticket because of the recall? Because that's something I'd like to know. Tesla told the Auto Safety Agency it released on October 20th an updated version to introduce rolling stop functionality. What they should also introduce is yellow light floor it functionality. So as you're approaching a yellow light, whether you should step on the brakes or floor it, I think they should introduce yellow light floor it functionality. So as the light turns yellow, it should just floor it to get to the light. Why not? I mean, a lot of people do that, right? The automaker said to use the feature, vehicles must be traveling below 5.6 miles per hour, and no relevant moving cars, pedestrians, or bicyclists are detected near the intersection. Just that pesky stop sign. The feature, which appeared to violate state laws that require vehicles to come to a complete stop and required drivers to opt in for what it dubbed assertive mode, drew attention on social media and prompted NHTSA to raise questions with Tesla. According to a defect report filed with the Auto Safety Agency, Tesla said it met with NHTSA staff on January 10th and 19th to discuss the functionality, including operating parameters, and the automaker on January 20th agreed to the recall. So for those of you who like to knee-jerk respond and defend Tesla on every front, you should just understand that Tesla has agreed with this recall. So don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at NHTSA. Tesla has agreed on this recall. In November, Tesla recalled nearly 12,000 U.S. vehicles sold since 2017 for another software update because a communication error could cause a false forward collision warning or unexpected activation of the emergency brakes. NHTSA said last week it had sought additional information from Tesla in its probe into 580,000 vehicles over the automaker's decision to allow games to be played by passengers in the front center touchscreen. And in December, NHTSA opened a preliminary evaluation into some Tesla Model 3S, X's, and Y's over the vehicle's passenger play feature the agency said may distract the driver and increase the risk of a crash. In August, NHTSA opened a formal safety probe into Tesla's autopilot driver assistance system in 765,000 vehicles after about a dozen crashes involving Tesla models and emergency vehicles. And that investigation does remain open. So the issue here is, if the vehicle detects a stop sign, let's go to the laboratory setting. You're driving along out in the middle of nowhere. You're in the United States. You're in one of the states. You're out in the middle of nowhere. And you come up to a stop sign and you roll up to it real slow. And let's say there's not even a cross street. It's literally just for some odd reason there's a stop sign there. And there's not another car for miles. It's broad daylight. It's sunny out. Conditions are dry. The pavement is perfect. And for some odd reason, there's this lone, solitary stop sign. And you roll up to it, and the car goes, hey, perfectly safe, no need to stop. A couple miles an hour, we'll roll on and just keep on rolling. Now, you might say, Steve, that's perfectly safe. It probably is. And you might say, Steve, that's what most people are going to do out there. Again, I agree with you. And you're going to say, so what's the problem? Well, is it illegal? I'm an attorney. I have to ask that question. Is it illegal? Yes, it is. Now, I've never gotten a ticket for rolling a stop sign, but I know people who have. And I've represented a lot of people on traffic tickets, and I've had people who got ticketed for rolling a stop sign. And the problem always is, people are out someplace like that. They don't think anybody can see them. And they come to an almost complete stop. There's nobody around. It's not going to hurt anybody. You roll it, you keep going. And suddenly a police officer appears from out of nowhere, seemingly. Is it against the law? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I know a lot of people say, but Steve, it is such a nitpicky thing to complain about when somebody rolls a stop sign at like 1/2 of a mile per hour. And there's nobody around. Who cares? Who cares? I'm just pointing it out to you. Maybe the stop sign shouldn't be there. You know, maybe it shouldn't be. But that's not the call that you make in your car, as it's programmed to not stop at stop signs. It is programmed to come to an almost complete stop, but it does not actually stop. So I know a lot of people, especially people who, shall we say, are fans of Tesla, are going to say this is ridiculous, that if you want to program it to roll stop signs, you should be allowed to program it to roll stop signs. Yeah, I suppose you should, understanding that you could get a ticket for that. And when you say, well, my car did it, guess what? As of right now, we still ticket the drivers, not the cars. So until that changes, you really can't use that as an excuse. So I can see the concern, though. that the government would have, saying you've programmed the car to where it's going to break the law. That's a problem. But again, like I said, I'm a lawyer. I'm here to discuss the laws with you. And so NHTSA has their job to do, and the stop sign's got its job to do. So you might not like it, but that's the way it is. So Tesla's recalled nearly 54,000 vehicles that may disobey stop signs until they're fixed. Reuters reported it. David Shepardson wrote it. Doug, Don, David, Caleb, and Sarah all sent it. Thanks a lot. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law.
Problems are not stop signs, they are guidelines.